So the first thing I want to cover is when you are starting a book, it's not about writing. What we're doing is positioning before we even start writing any pages down, before we start creating an outline, before we start writing a chapter, before we start writing an introduction. It doesn't matter. What we want to do right now is position our book so that way we know who we're talking to. If you start writing today, if you start writing right away, you're doing it all wrong. Like I said, you're just going to start typing away. You're going to start kind of dumping everything onto paper. Yes, that's okay. And that's actually one of the homework assignments that we're going to do later on, maybe even this week. However, doing that is you're kind of writing without any roadmap. If you're going to go from point A to point B without a clear roadmap or direction, you're not going to know where to go. Yes, that's also an outline. However, in this case, it's the direction. What direction are you taking? Whether it be north, east, south, or west, that's your audience. We need to make sure that we're targeting your audience because you're going to be speaking to an 8-year-old way more differently than you're going to speak to a 40-year-old. And that's the true essence of why this is so important. Only job today, your only job is to lock in the spine. We want to know what the backbone of your book is. And it's very simple. I'm going to go through it with you. I already did my part. Most of you have already done your part. If not, you can go ahead and comment below what your answers are. We're going to go all through this, whether you have an idea or if you don't have an idea, I got you. So the first thing that we need to understand is going to be a foundational shift. Authority before authorship. We can't spell authorship without authority. Or is it the other way around? You can't spell authority without author. So we do need to make sure that we have this shift with us. You don't start writing, you start building authority. You want to know why you are in command. Why are you in the driver's seat? Why are you even writing this book? Who are you? What's the purpose? So that authority is what's going to set you apart of you writing a book versus you writing just any book and hoping something sticks. The process isn't about just filling the pages. We want to be building something clear. We want a clear roadmap on what we're writing, right? Makes sense. So this is going to be a powerful position that makes the writing effortless. Trust me on this. Once you know who you're writing to, you can clearly talk to that person. Like I said, what if you're talking to your mom? You're going to talk to your mom way differently than you talk to your friends. Same thing about writing a book. You need to know who your audience is. The 3 pillars of your book's spine is this: define the outcome, name the problem, and declare your point of view. What that means is when you define the outcome, it's what the reader believes in you. Every book, whether you start any book, when it comes to a nonfiction book, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to give you their credibility. They're going to tell you why they or you should listen to them. You can pick out any book, even Tony Robbins. He tells you who he is in the beginning. I can pick out pretty much any book here. Let's pick another one. Relentless. By the way, this is a great book. But Relentless, Tim Grover, that's his name. Yeah, Tim Grover. He tells you who he is, why he's writing this book, what gives him the authority to write this book. This is essentially what you're doing. What the reader, at the end of this, it's going to be what the reader believes in you. Now, the problem is the more specific problem that you're trying to solve. You want to solve a specific problem for a specific person. Tim Grover is not addressing someone that's, wanting to get hired at a job, or maybe he's not writing for someone that wants to, I don't know, is thinking of maybe doing a career change. He's not writing to that. Tim Grover is writing to people that want to dominate in their field. They want to do extraordinary results, not the average person that settles with just getting by. So it's a specific type of person he's writing to, and he solves that on how to do it. Same thing with you. You're not solving an issue for everybody. You're solving an issue for one particular person. Next thing you want to do is declare your point of view. What you believe that others get wrong. Now, this one's a huge one for me. I'm going to go ahead and explain what my answers are in just a little bit. But there's a lot of things in your experience that most of the time people find wrong, or that they're thinking one way when you found out that there's another way of thinking. There is this belief that you created in your mind that, wait a minute, this isn't right. Like, this is a different way of doing it. One of the big ones for me was my first book. First book was is on finance, and I didn't believe that you should be budgeting the way Dave Ramsey shows you, where you penny pinch every single thing that you could possibly do. You never eat out, you don't have any fun, and then you're just in this kind of lack mentality. I didn't believe that was right. I believe that you could have fun so long as you went ahead and commanded your money the way you should command it. Now, the other thing that I want to point out is that goes across the board with a lot of things. Your beliefs are going to be different from someone else's. Your beliefs might change someone else's mentality toward that one thing. And that's what your book is supposed to do. So let's go ahead and go into each one individually. Now, the first thing you want to do is define the outcome. When someone finishes the book, what do you want them to believe about you? This isn't about what they learn, it's about what they decide about your credibility. This is the foundation of your authority. After done reading the book, this is the first one I got, and this actually makes perfect sense. Because after this, I thought Tim Grover was like the best thing. Like, I thought he was just awesome. He worked alongside Michael Jordan. He worked alongside a bunch of pro athletes. I'm not big into athletics, but he did work alongside, Kobe Bryant. I know who they are, but after that, I believed everything he said. Like, I thought Tim Grover is awesome. Like, this guy is amazing. Same thing can be said for James Clear with Atomic Habits. Do I have that? That's what you want. You want someone to completely open their mind and think, oh wow, like this person who wrote this absolutely changed my mind, changed the way I think, and they made my life so much better and so much more different. This is exactly what you want to do. Now, the second thing you want to do is name the problem that you're known for. One problem, not seven. If you try to help everyone, congratulations, you're not going to help anyone. This one's a big one. I feel that because I always want to kind of help everybody. I want my book to have all the information in there to help everybody in every single circumstance. It doesn't work that way. You want to name one problem for one person. For me, my first book was people that were Christians and wanted to be better with their money. That was it. It wasn't for every single person out there that wants to get better with their money, because it was more toward Christians and it was more faith based. So I wasn't trying to solve it for everybody. I just thought that Dave Ramsey's, being the Christian finance guy, didn't hit certain points that he should have. So I made the book that did that, right? Now, the third thing, declare your point of view. What do you believe the most people in your space get wrong? This one's awesome. Same thing. I'm going to go back to my point with Dave Ramsey's. Everybody thought that you needed a penny pinch and you needed to be hard on your money. As Christians, you're taught not to have the love of money. All those things, where people believe that I knew that they were wrong. So I wanted to change that frame of reference. I wanted to change their mind on that. It's exactly what you're doing with your book. So this becomes the through line of the entire book. It's what makes your work memorable and challenging. It's what's going to be giving people that aha moment where they're like, oh my God, like, yes, this is it. That's what this book is supposed to do. So there's 2 points to this entire day. One, it's path A. You already have a book idea. Awesome. Some of you have already started writing. Awesome. Don't worry. We're going to get there. We're going to get you published. Don't worry. And path B, you don't have a book idea. Most people are in this, that they don't have a book idea. They just know they want to write something and they don't know. I'm going to be going over both paths. You can skip ahead to path B or watch it all, because you're going to eventually need this part 8 once you get your idea. So follow the path that best describes you to begin this exercise. Here we go. All right. So path A, you already have an idea of what to write. Awesome. You probably have already started writing. That's okay. Answer these questions cleanly, or else your idea isn't completely ready. Now, this is not your fault. This is just, I'm sorry, this is not an insult. I'm not insulting you. You probably already have a clear idea. That's perfect. If you answer these, then you just kind of reaffirm your clarity, right? So the first thing is this book exists to make the reader believe what? Same thing in what we just talked about. The problem isn't blank, it's blank. What they used to believe, and now it's this, right? And most people think this, but now I believe this. And that's all you're trying to do. You're just trying to make a transformation within the reader. All right. Plan B, path B, is to audit your reality. Now, don't brainstorm titles. Don't start with what you already know and do. List the following, okay? That's what you're going to do. You're going to start with what you already know, and you're just going to kind of go off the following. We're not working off titles. We're not, creating an outline. We're not writing an introduction, nothing like that. Let's dial this in first. So the first thing you want to do is problems you've solved for yourself. This can be anything that you've gone through in life, your experiences, your know-hows, something that you have solved for yourself by either getting a barrage of different skills, you experience certain things that you know how to solve now because you went through it, all of that. You want to kind of start writing all that list down, right? Afterwards, you questions that people ask you repeatedly. Now, this is a huge one because for me, people constantly ask me after I finished writing my first book, they kept asking me, how do you write the book? And what do I do with the book? How do you get it published? What publishing company do I go to? So I started getting a lot of questions revolving around how to publish. It's essentially why I created this school community, because I kept getting asked that question and I thought, wait, I can help other people. Like 98% of people want to write a book and 1% really do. So that's why I started this school community. That's why we should be writing this book. Now, things you can explain that make people say, I never thought of it that way. My biggest one is still my first book, my finance book, because instead of budgeting, I said it's stop budgeting and start commanding your money. Because when you command your money, you're more in the authority of the money and you tell it what to do. Versus budgeting, you're being limited by what the money is going to be doing, right? So people never think of it that way, and that's what made my first book do a whole different twist on the whole finance place. And that is what I want your book to do. So these are the three things that you want to ask yourself and list out as many as you can. So that way you can have a really good idea of like, oh, this is what my book is about. So get that started. If you don't have a book idea, don't worry, you're on time, because right after you get this, you can easily do path A right after this. All right. So from your audit, pick one lane where you're 1 to 2 steps ahead of the reader. This is still for Plan B. So once you have that list, you're gonna pick. You're gonna audit it and pick one of these lanes. First, you're 2 steps ahead of the reader. 2, you lived it, not Googled it. So you actually experienced this within your life and not just, Googled it and you got an answer. Or you can talk about it without notes for about 30 minutes. Someone were to ask you these questions at a cocktail party or, out when you're friends with having drinks with some friends, whatever the case, and you can talk about this subject for hours, 30 minutes, that's your book. You're good. You're solid. You have your book idea. Go to path A. So authority doesn't require perfection. It just requires proximity. And you being ahead of the reader, 2 steps ahead, really puts you in the authority lane. Really big story that I've actually heard before is Russell Brunson. He actually talked about the movie Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. In it, he was a professor. So he pretended to be certain professions, even though he was, he didn't graduate or he didn't go to college or something like that. He didn't have a whole high school diploma or whatever it was. But he was a college professor for a while, pretending to be a college professor. When he was caught, Tom Hanks, as the detective, asked him, how are you able to teach the class even though you've never even gone to college? And he said, well, that was simple. All I had to do is be a chapter ahead. And that's all you have to do. In your book, all you have to do is be a chapter ahead, because people are the ones, people that are behind you a couple of chapters, they're going to be asking you questions. And that's what your book is going to be doing. It's going to be solving those questions. For my answers, these are it. Now, the belief is this book exists to make the reader believe that they can write a book without feeling overwhelmed. My book that I'm writing along with you is just that. It's going to be a book showing you that you can write a quick book that's going to build authority for you. That's going to be in any profession or any business. So a lot of people believe that, a book is overwhelming. It's too much to do. I'm going to show people that it's not. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. The real problem isn't that they aren't a writer. It's that they don't have the right structure. Most of them believe that, oh, well, I don't know how to write, or I flunked, I flunked English class, whatever it is. This is pretty much a structure showing you how to do it. I'm going to show them, look, it's a simple structure. All you have to do is this. You don't have to be a writer. Now, the point of view that I want people to have change is most people think that they need a 50,000, 200 page, they think that they need, a big book like this to be this great author or this great authority. That's not the case. I believe that even a small book that demonstrates authority in your field can be as little as 10,000 words, and solidify you as the authority in your field, because a published book is a published book. And as long as it's not a bunch of fluff and it's straight to the point and it gives a great transformation for the reader, that's your authority right there. You have now locked in your spine. After doing this exercise, you have locked in the spine of your book. Notice that we didn't write any chapters. We didn't make any titles. No Canva covers, no introduction, nothing. We solidified who you're going to be writing for. You have built the most critical piece of the book's foundation. Foundations tend to sometimes feel a little boring, but this is definitely needed. So that way your book can have a great start. So today versus tomorrow. Today we decided who this book is for and why it exists to begin with. Tomorrow we extract the book from your head. So tomorrow is when we start kind of grabbing that book out of your head and start trying to put it down on paper, making sense of it so we can start writing it. So I'm sure you're excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for all of you, actually. So make sure you keep following along day by day. Follow along with me. At the end of this, everybody here will have a published book. For those of you on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. The link is down below if you want to join the free school community. We have extras for you, including accountability and community that you can go ahead and rely off of each other. So that way, you can have your book finished and published at the end of this.